Hey guys, I'm Ray and we are streaming blacksmithing. Hey Ping. Um, welcome back into the shop. This weekend has been quite the weekend, I'll just say. All weekend it stormed. And so Friday the storm started rolling in and the internet was incredibly unstable, and I just couldn't get a signal long enough to like start streaming. The power flickered when I or 15 minutes before I wanted to start our stream on Friday. And at that point, I was just like, I had been struggling to be able to keep the internet up for YouTube and all of the stuff that I was doing that morning. So I decided to cancel our stream and try again today. So far, the internet has been relatively stable. I was playing some MMOs this morning just to test out the stability. MMOs have a tendency to be a little bit on the harder side of your internet connection. So I played about an hour of World of Warcraft to kind of make sure that I was stable enough to stream today, and it seemed pretty well. But I mean, all weekend I was fighting the internet. On Saturday, we lost the internet for 5 hours, and it was unstable the entire rest of the day. Yesterday, we had really unstable internet for the entire day. So I was really, really upset, and I was hoping that it would be stable by today. It seems so far like we're pretty stable. So I'm pretty happy about that. I really hate canceling stream. Um, Not only is it like disruptive to my week and my workload, it's just also I don't want to disappoint anybody. So we do what we can, and I mean there are certain things that you just can't control, and I understand that, but it is very disappointing anyway. So yeah, so far it seems pretty good. If it decides that it's going to start flickering in and out again, we might end up ending the stream a little bit early. But I'm pretty sure that the internet company has everything all fixed up, and we should be fine, at least until the next big storm. So yeah, it was like awful storming all weekend, so I wasn't able to actually do any more rearrangement in the shop. So we're still kind of in this temporary setup. But I think that's going to be all right for the most part. We'll try again next weekend to see if we can't get a good time to like finish straightening up the shop so I can get, open up the door behind me and, make sure that I'm not tripping everywhere. So hopefully that works out for us. So today, now that we are back from internet purgatory, I am going to continue and hopefully finish our set of tongs. So we have 2 tong blanks fully formed. So we've got a little bit more finessing to go on the boss sections, these big thick areas here. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of shape them, flatten them out, and drill holes in them. Then we are going to take this section of material here and we're going to turn it into a rivet, which we're going to thread through the hole that we drill and make these into a functional pair of tongs. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get all of that done today. If we don't get it done today, we will certainly get it done on Wednesday, and the rest will be more like finessing stuff to make sure that the 2 jaws of the tongs meet together properly, to make sure that we bend on the necks of these tongs properly. Everything's all straightened up, tight, and ready to go, ready to use. So there, like I said, there is a chance that it will extend one more day, but I can't imagine doing even a full day on Wednesday on these tongs. So we will be doing a new project starting Wednesday, even if it's halfway through the stream. If it is halfway through the stream, I'll probably work on doing the Frederick's Cross that we kind of skipped over. And hopefully we can get that done. And then from there, we're gonna, come up with a new project. The one that I have in mind is a sign for our project wall so that we can kind of like, have an anchor point, and then we'll start putting all of our projects all around it. So I'd like it to be like a light up sign in the center, and we'll see what happens after that. So welcome in, everybody. What's the project for today? Also, it looks like we're in ads. I'm not sure if we're actually in ads, but we could be. We are continuing to work on our tongs today. But we should be finishing at the end of the day, or by the end of the day, hopefully, fingers crossed, we might have a little bit of finessing to do at the beginning of Wednesday's stream. Shop looks great. Thanks, Ping. So yeah, we did a little bit of rearranging in the shop last weekend. Not this like yesterday, last weekend, but like last weekend. So we're still kind of in a temporary flux with that. But overall, it's a lot easier to walk around in this area. Everything is like really within arm's reach of it with one another. I think that the view of the press is a little bit better, and you guys will be able to see inside of the forge as it going. I'm really excited about this setup, and I think that it's really going to help our stream because this area is now purpose built for this stream. So there is a place for everything, and everything is in its place, and that's going to help me get a little bit more organized overall, I hope. Ordinarily, I'm not really a very organized person, so I'm sure it will become a disaster chaos mess at some point in the near future, but, wishful thinking. I was at the Texas Pinball Festival last week. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Were you competing or just watching? Pinball is really, really cool. There's a couple like pinball parlors in this area. We're right outside of St. Louis, Missouri, so there's like a whole bunch of like pinball places that do like tournaments and stuff like that. They have like many, many machines, and a lot of them are like free play, and you just like press the button and then you play. And they have like tournaments, and they'll just pick like a specific machine, and they'll be like, okay, so this week's tournament is going to be on X machine, so come on in and practice up, and then you guys can compete at the end of the week. And that's kind of how it works around here. Playing but not competing. Ooh. Like I said, playing pinball is so much fun, even if you're not playing in the tournament. I'm not good enough to play in a tournament, but it is really fun to play a few rounds of pinball here and there. Okay, so we are going to turn on the forge. Let's see. Do I actually have enough propane in here, or should I actually change to the new tank? I should probably change to the new tank just to make sure that everything is all nice and ready to go today, so I don't have to change this in the middle of our stream. So we'll do that now real fast, because I definitely don't want to lose time having to change everything in the middle of our stream. So I have a brand new tank here on the floor next to me, and we'll put that on. Whoops. Ow. Don't you just love when you accidentally punch things when you're turning a wrench? That's what seems to be happening at the moment. Aw, dang it. This is the first time I've really had to change tanks. Well, not the first time, but pretty quick succession. So we're kind of streamlining it, or attempting to streamline the process a little bit. So it might be a little bit on the slower side. Or it might not decide it's going to turn on properly at first. So if it doesn't, I apologize for that. We will work it out and make sure that we get all those bugs out. But yeah, like I said, my weekend was a little meh, fighting with the internet and the storms. Well, that's interesting. I found a flint for my striker. That's always a blast. I'll stick that over here so I don't lose it. I think maybe it would make a little bit more sense if I moved where the swage block is. A little bit further that way. Let's see. Now we'll open this and spell it. I think we're okay there. All right, let's start up this forge. So I don't really have a good place to put this right now. So right now it's kind of living under the swage block. I would like to come up with a better solution for that. But that's future Ray's problem. Present Ray's problem is turning on the forge and making sure everything works properly. All right. And that can go back down there. Okie doke. Let's put our first half of the tongs into the forge so it can heat up. Alrighty. So now that the forge is up and running, we can kind of, you know, get a little bit cozy and make sure that we've got everything going. Oh man. Ugh. My headphones are battery operated. At least the Bluetooth section of them is. So when I dropped them, all the batteries spilled out. Let's put those back in there just so that they are there and I don't lose them. I don't use it during the stream, but you know, it's nice to have some Bluetoothed music when you're in the forge. There we go. Hey, now I can hear myself. You guys can hear me so much better than I can hear myself because there's the lovely external noise the noise canceling that is built into the lav mic. So I can't hear myself very well, but you guys can. So I am grateful for that. So what's today's weather like? Today we're kind of in the 60s. It's kind of cooler, and which is why I have, the sweatshirt on. I'm actually a little bit on the cold side today. So hopefully once the forge gets going, it'll start warming up in here, and I think I'll probably end up keeping the sweatshirt on for most of the stream today. But yeah, the storms brought cool weather. So it's really nice. Although the amount of weather changes recently that we've been having in the area has been really affecting my breathing. So Friday and a little bit on Wednesday, I was not having a very good breathing day. So today it's a little bit better, and I'm pretty thankful for that. But overall, I kind of like it on the cooler side. So what's the weather like for you guys? I know Ping's on the East Coast. Some of our other members of the community are in Europe. So what's the weather like for you guys? I know that there were some earthquakes in the southeast. There was quite a lot of damage in Malmar, and hopefully anybody from our community that is in that area is safe and secure. But yeah, it's kind of scary reading about that. So it looks like the metal is heating up pretty well. So I am going to probably actually start up the cameras so that I can record the last few processes of making these tongs for our YouTube video. The last couple days that we've streamed, I haven't done a lot of recording because a lot of it was just very repetitive. And once you get a few good shots, you don't need like a million shots of the same thing. So we're now getting to the process where I'm going to need to start recording again. So I'll have to remember to hit the record button and try not to trip over the cables. The new camera locations and the new laptop location is a little bit on the funky spaghetti side right now because we've got our temporary setup going on. So I kind of have to skip rope a little bit to get back to the camera. So we'll see how that goes. Have you always worn eye protection or have I lost my mind? Okay, so yes, I always use ear and eye protection when I'm in the shop. And oftentimes, even if I am not working in the shop, like if I am cleaning or sweeping or, you know, just in the shop in general, I always wear eye protection because there's just so much dust and dirt that floats around and I just don't want it in my eyes. I'm a very big proponent of PPE, which is personal protection equipment. Hearing protection from all of the loud noises, from the anvil, the press, the forge. Eye protection because metal on metal always has that, you know, metal on metal always has the chance that it will chip off and start flying, as well as any of the scale that comes off of the projects that we're doing can jump off and fly in any different direction. I want to make sure that it doesn't fly in my eyes. And once again, scale is hot rust is basically what it is. It is oxidized material that flakes off of our projects. So yeah, and then, you know, aprons so that we don't set our clothes on fire. Always nice to have. Do you wear sunscreen? You know, I try to wear sunscreen, you know, when I'm outdoors. A lot of times you know, I sit in my house and in the shop all the time, and I don't wear sunscreen in the house or in the shop. Maybe I should, I don't know. A lot of people, you know, with their skincare routines, they'll tell you to put on sunscreen or like foundation with sunscreen in it. As you can probably tell, I don't normally wear makeup, so yeah, I don't typically wear sunscreen unless I am deliberately going outside, and I probably should, but you know. And I know that was probably a joke, and I took it too seriously, but I don't know. But yeah, safety is very important. It is not always my tippy toppest priority, but it is always within the top 3. Safety can't always be first because if it was, you'd get nothing done. However, like I said, you know, it is very high on my priorities list. Okay, let's play some jump rope with our laptop cable so that I can hit the record button on the camera. And same with this guy. Let's see if I can actually, okay. Nice. All right. We have 2 recording cameras. And a hot piece of steel. Okay, I put the rest of my material over there. We are good to go. All right, so it helps when you use the correct camera. So as you guys can tell, I have fixed my sound problem, or at least I've fixed it a little bit. All right, so we are going to hang off the edge of the anvil. And what we're doing right now is we are kind of shaping that boss section of our tongs. So we now have a nice shelf right in here, where the edge of our boss section, where we're going to put that rivet, can sit there. We've got a little bit of movement, so I'm going to fix that so it doesn't start warping too badly as we go. But what we're doing is we're kind of trying to make sure that the handle of the tong area, or like the handle of the tong, is not going to be in the way of the rivet area. So we can kind of create a scissor. So we can kind of create a scissor shape with these tongs, and the handles will stay out of the way of each other. All right. $55 cloudy. That's a really nice, a nice weather. I really like around 55 to 65, that range, for forging in, because then the heat from the forge itself is, it's just right to keep me warm enough that I'm comfortable. So I've been doing a lot of kind of editing and that sort of thing for a lot of my videos recently, and I'm kind of trying to give myself a little bit of extra time to kind of think and process the type of things that I want to say in my videos, and make sure that you guys get to know the things that that you come here to learn. So I'm trying to have some structure towards what I tell you guys to make sure that it's more understandable. Sometimes I get a little bit lost in wording, and so I'm hoping that things are going to, be a little bit clearer today at least. But yeah, one of these days too, in the next day or of streaming or two, I will probably need to make a new wedge for my 2-pound hammer. I lost the wedge for it, and I still have yet to make a new one to stick in the handle of my 2-pound hammer. That's starting to become my favorite hammer because it's just light enough that it works really well, and I can put a lot of power behind it, and I don't get too tired while using it. So right now we're using the 3-pound hammer, and I might live to regret it in a few, because I don't have my elbow brace on today. So, free elbow, but it's not being braced, and I'm using the heavier hammer. So hopefully it works out. Welcome in, Mahalo. Hello. I'm glad that you're here today. I'm glad to be back from my crazy internet issues, and I'm, pretty happy that the internet's being stable today. And I also learned that at the bottom of OBS, all of my latency stats read out, so I can kind of look to see, how quickly, or what my megabits are, and all of my stats for the computer, and make sure that everything is coming through clean. So that's really nice, and I don't know if it was always there, but it was when I pulled it up this morning, or this afternoon, I guess. Spring storms are crazy like that. Glad it's behaving. Yeah, we lost internet for about 5 hours on Saturday. The internet went down at about 4 p.m. My time, and then we did not get it back until 9:20 that night. And it was kind of crazy because we use the internet for our television as well as our MMOs and uploading to YouTube and all of that. So it's We actually pulled out the DVD player and watched some DVDs that we hadn't watched in like years. It was kind of weird, but it was interesting. I mean, it's been a long time since I've watched, actual DVDs. So we went and watched the original Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser. It was pretty good. DVD, what's that? I mean, I feel like it's almost like that nowadays with all of the streaming services and the direct on demand and with cable and stuff. So yeah, it was interesting. And then we watched an anime that someone had lent us several months ago, and it's kind of like I find it difficult to sit down and watch actual movies anymore. It's fine watching like a half an hour to an hour TV show, but I find it difficult to set aside the time to actually watch TV or a movie, I guess. So, I mean, maybe it's a good thing that the internet collapsed for, several hours this weekend. All right, so we're going to do another heat. And what we're going to do is we are going to continue to move that boss out of the way. And we're starting to create quite the thickness there, so we're going to come back around and we are going to smack ourselves in the face with scale, but really we're trying to kind of reduce that thickness that we're gaining from pushing down on our boss area. So we're kind of trying to control where that metal moves. Alrighty. Make sure everything is all nice and lined up and exactly where we want it, because the longer we allow it to move freely and uncontrollably, the greater the risk of it just going crazy and creating more problems down the line. This piece is developing quite a lot of scale, so it's just like flying everywhere. I'm really glad that I have my apron and all my safety equipment. I almost wish I could find some good gloves to use. I feel like fingerless gloves would really help a lot of times, but I also have to make sure that any sort of gloves that I wear give me enough grip so that I can keep a hold of my material and the tongs. I used to have a pair of fingerless gloves that I used to wear a lot when I was forging, but they were kind of like scuba suit material on the back end, and they melted, or they started to melt, so I had to stop wearing them. It was like a leather palm and like a scuba suit material on the back. So I try not to use gloves if I can manage it, because it's a risk that I don't like taking, but sometimes I wish I could, when the scale starts jumping. Welcome in, Yankee. Welcome in. So I started playing World of Warcraft. I claim that it is your fault, and it is another one of my gamer friend's fault. He started playing WoW too, so I mean, I'm back. I have fallen off the WoW wagon, and I'm back in the game. Although I'm playing retail now, so that's probably worse than playing classic. I almost wish I was playing classic. I feel like I love all of the convenience things that are associated with retail, but I love the laid back atmosphere of classic, and yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where you got to straddle that line. Which is more important, the convenience or the laid back atmosphere? Retail is icky, ew. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a big, I would rather be playing Classic than Retail, but my partner was really interested in some of the later on expansions, and his favorite classes are like Monk and Demon Hunter, and you can't play those in Classic because, well, you can do Monk starting when they, or in a few when they do the Mist of Pandaria expansion, but I would rather play the vanilla Classic servers, and those two classes just aren't in Classic or vanilla Classic. So yeah, we are playing Retail again, and it's been interesting. I'm checking out the Evoker class. Um, I thought that I would hate it because I hate cast timers, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So, like I said, I'd rather play Classic, but if I'm going to play Retail, I might as well play one of the new classes, right? Okay, let's do another heat. It helps if I hit the camera 2 button and not the camera 1 button. Okay, so we are going to turn this exactly 180 degrees so that we are now offsetting the neck of the. Are we back? Fingers crossed that we are. It looks like we are. Yay! We're back. A dinosaur story. So it looks like my internet might still be a little bit on the unstable side. Hopefully it holds and we can actually have a full stream. But there is a chance that the VOD may split. There's also a chance that we'll just go down. And I think actually the VOD probably actually did already split. So I apologize for that. Thank you for continuing to watch. And we're going to continue doing the best we can. Like I said, my internet is probably still a little bit on the unstable side from those storms, and hopefully my cable company will get the lines all taken care of and fixed up so that we don't have to worry about this anymore. Alrighty. Yeah, the timer restarted. Alright, well, lame, but it is what it is. Cable companies are reliable, if anything. Yeah. I do enjoy that I have a cable company because it is a lot better having the cable company for our internet than it was. We used to have AT&T, like the phone company, for our internet service, and they had really, really limited amounts of data transfer. So I couldn't actually stream while we had AT&T because they would crank down our internet speed if I was trying to upload too much stuff. They were kind of afraid that we were, pirating things, and there was a lot of times where they just crank down our internet speed if we use so many different so many gigabytes of data, and that was awful on during World of Warcraft patches, because that's the game that we were playing back then. That and Elder Scrolls Online, when they had major patches, it would be awful because it would take a whole month for us to get our speed back up because they just ramp us down again. We have versions, so it's a cable and phone company. Yeah, I don't know why AT&T would crank down our internet service or our speeds, but it's once you hit a certain number of gigabytes on their service, they'd crank us down, our speed down, and it was awful. So I'm glad that we got off of that internet service, and now we're on Charter, which is our cable company in the area. So yeah, seems to be okay for the most part. That is nuts. So recently they've actually started putting in fiber, and I'm really looking forward to that because once I get fiber, then it'll be like a lick fast, and I'll be able to compete in whatever I want to in video games, and I shouldn't have any trouble streaming with the fiber connection. But they haven't activated it in our area yet, so hopefully they do that really, really soon. I'm really looking forward to having a fiber connection. Okay, let's do another heat. Oh wait, is it going to make me do another beginner? Because they do those stupid ads at the beginning. That they'll let you go for like 5 or 10 minutes and then they'll start an ad. So it looks like they're gonna do one in about 2.5 minutes. Yeah, I'll be a PvP pro in no time. I don't do a lot of PvP. That's one of the things that I don't do. I was a world-class raider at one point, but I just don't like PvP because I don't like body walking, and I think it's mean to make other people do it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a bleeding heart. All right. Let's see if we can't offset this neck a little bit further. And we've got a little bit of an offset there, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now we're going to start squishing this. Want to thin it out, and the reason we want to thin that out is so that the rivet doesn't have to go through all of that material twice. And we've got a little bit of curling that we're going to correct. And we've got a little bit of movement. So we'll put that back in, heat it up a little bit further, and keep going. Yeah, I'm on a PvP server, but I just don't attack people unless they go at me first. Yeah, I used to play on a PvP server. I used to be on Retail Firetree back in the day, and that was a PvP server. It was a medium population one. And every time I would go out and do dailies, I would leave the horde alone, but they would come and kill me often. And then I would go over and log on to my horde characters, and I'd be like, "Hey, can you leave me alone now that you got your free honor?" Usually they were relatively polite after that. I prefer RP PvP, but hey, yeah. I played on a PvP server, which was Firetree, and then I played on Retail Wormrest Accord, which is one of the RP servers. It's a PvE RP. It is on the same data center as Moonguard, which is like the, be careful in Goldshire server. So that was interesting. They were actually relatively nice outside of Goldshire. So I actually enjoyed playing on Firetree, or I mean on Wormrest Accord. Gnomes and goblins are fair game. I mean, the small people. I always played night elves and blood elves. Occasionally, I picked up an undead or two. But yeah, that's my WoW, habit, I guess. Preferences. He don't like littles. Yeah, I tried very hard to play a gnome, but my gnome got to about level 10, and I just couldn't do it anymore because I just got really tired of everybody being so high up in the air, and I just kind of had to angle my camera up, and I couldn't do it. I was so used to playing Night Elves and looking down everybody and, you know, seeing everybody's bald spots that I just couldn't do the gnome. Apparently there it was a piece of metal on the ground and I slipped on it, so I want to make sure that that is out of the way. Let me check my cameras real fast. Cut that clip. And then we will cut this clip real fast. If I can make sure that it does it. I'm trying to be, you know, make it a little easier on myself by like going from the front instead of the back. Less spaghetti tripping and more tripping over the tripod. So I don't know. I feel like it's 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. I'll figure it out eventually. I gotta be a Tauren or it makes my soul sad. Well, you know, Taurens are big old beefcakes, and they can be druid. So you know, I really like druid. That was my main for a long time. Yeah, I really liked druid, but my druid was ally side, so it was a night elf. I was a resto druid, so I did a lot of healing in the beginning. I healed from Trial of the Crusader through, let's see, I heal mained through the end of Ruby Sanctum, which was like the very end tier of Lich King, and then starting in Cataclysm, I was a Hunter main from then on, and I still really love Hunter, but right now I'm playing the, what is it, Evoker? And then I will probably, from the Evoker, move into a Warrior, because I really like Warrior. Alrighty. So, I'm going to do another heat real fast, because that's what you guys all came here for. Alright, so we're really trying to squish this material in, and we're starting to get a decent amount of movement in there, and I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to start the isolation of where we're going to actually put the rivet in there. And in order to kind of, we are going to move this, the material, and we're going to shelf it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this corner, and then we're going to aim it at that corner. So we're going to come over here. Let's see. Are we? Yeah, we're going to. I always forget how to do this. Corner to corner. I turned my anvil backwards when I did this. So we're going to, it's got to be like this. Can I do it this way? That might work a little bit better. I don't know. Corner to corner. Because I want when I, okay, yeah. Sorry, I always have to like reimagine how this functions every time I do this. So we're going to go corner to corner, and we're going to do here, we're going to hang this over on this side of the anvil, I think. I think that's how we're going to do it. Or maybe I'll flip it and I'll do something completely unexpected, because you never know. Bungalow Glow, hi Ray, I like your new setup arrangement. Thank you so much. I think it's so much better. I've got a lot more area that I can walk around and talk to you guys in. And so, you know, and then you guys can see more of my tools. So you're going to see inside of the forge, you can see the full press. And, you know, I've got my, my post vise and my hammers all displayed. And I feel like this is a much better, more efficient way of arranging everything. So hopefully, you know, it works out pretty well. I still have a little bit more arrangement to do, because what I want to do is I want to be able to turn the camera 180 degrees and be able to show you guys like welding and coal forge stuff and fabrication, grinding, and all that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to finishing out, rearranging, and kind of purpose building the space so that I can show you guys how I like to work. And it's great to hear you. Yes. So it's this little tiny piece that we ordered it from Amazon. It's a little Y shape. And so on one end it has a male it's a male connector on one end, and then it's got two females on the other end. And so basically what I had to do was I had to plug my microphone into the microphone female and then plug the male end into the headphone jack in my laptop. And so now I'm running the sound directly into the computer and not through the cameras. So when I change the cameras, the audio doesn't change anymore, and that I'm glad it's functioning correctly. It's been working very well for me. People have actually been able to hear me while I have the press going, which I find impressive because I can't hear me when the press is going. You got it worked out. That's great. Yes, I do. I have it all worked out, or at least I think I have it all worked out. One of these days it might break, but you know, that's Future Ray's problem and not my problem. So, you know. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm happy to be up and running again. Back in the shop and sharing the craft with you guys. Okay, we have plenty of heat, and so I'm going to attempt to shelf the material. So basically, right now we're kind of finessing this boss and making sure that the rivet is going to go in the holes, I guess, the pivot points. So we're kind of shaping it so that they function more scissor-like, and or like the neck and the jaws, and also the handle avoid that rivet section and don't bind up. So it's a lot easier to open and close them. So right now, what we're going to do is kind of create like a little shelf, like a diagonal shelf, so that when the two pieces sit together, they'll kind of cradle together and have a nice flat area to pivot on. So that's what we're going to be doing next. Okay. Now, if I can remember which direction I need to hold this. Okay, so I'm going to come over here like so, and I know I said that I was going to flip it 180 degrees, but I don't know. Okay, we've got like a little diagonal that is currently started. Maybe if I do it over here, it might work a little better. I don't know. Ouch, scale. And this is totally why this is going to take an extra day. Because I'm doing this all weird. Okay, you can kind of see a shelf that is starting to form here, right there. And so basically we're trying to thin this out so there is less material that rivet has to go through by creating this diagonal, so that the reins themselves can remain nice and thick and easy to hang on to, whereas the pivot point where the rivet sits can be nice and thin. So we're kind of trying to squish that down. we're good. A little piece of scale just sat in the webbing of between my finger or my thumb and forefinger. It's not too bad. So yeah, I think it seems to be working relatively well for us. I feel like my explanations are a little bit wordy this time, so I don't know. Maybe I'll have to find a way to abbreviate them a little bit. I have this tendency to over-explain things, and it's really good when I'm alive and people are asking questions and wondering what I'm up to and stuff. But I kind of feel like when I'm doing a condensed video for YouTube, sometimes my really wordy explanations on things just start to drone on to a point where it just makes the video excessively long. People have really short attention spans these days. I like the depth of knowledge that you're sharing. Well, I'm glad. And that's kind of what I want my brand to be, is like, I want to get into the nitty gritty of things and explain why things are the way they are. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who just forget that people who they're teaching don't always, have all of the knowledge inside their heads. And I find it easier for me specifically to learn when I get a little bit more in depth as to why we do things the way we do them. So I hope it works. It's a brand, I guess. It's good to repeat things because you never know if you'll have someone new lurking. Exactly. And I really enjoy, repeating. Well, part of the reason too that I repeat things is that if I don't get a good take the first time, I explain something, I can go back and take, a better explanation and stick it over top of like the footage that I'm trying to use. And then, so then I have like 2 or 3 shots or 2 or 3 takes, I guess, like, in the movies when they're like take one and they do the clapboard, so I'm trying to balance, talking to you guys and interacting with you guys, and then also making YouTube videos. And I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm throwing things against the wall on YouTube. Some things are sticking and some things I got to change. So I hope that I'm, able to balance it well enough so that both are entertaining. At least that's the goal. You're doing great. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like I myself, I am not a big let's watch streams fan. I don't spend a lot of time watching people's streams. And a lot of times the reason I don't is because if I'm going to play a game or watch a game, I want to be playing it myself and thinking about it and stuff. So I feel like I can't just do the blacksmithing stuff because that wouldn't be entertaining for me. So if I am entertaining for me, then maybe I'm entertaining for other people. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of, that's kind of my logic. I want to be entertaining more than just the actions that I'm taking. Okay, let's do another heat. And I am always, always up for answering questions. If anything I do is confusing, or if you want to know anything about blacksmithing, whether it is on topic or not, just let me know. So we are continuing to offset this rivet area, the pivot point, and bringing that shelf down further to kind of squish everything in, make sure that it all works together and avoids each other so that it closes correctly. Now I'm going to flip it over. Well, actually, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and we're going to take a look and see how much thinness we've created. So that's actually pretty decent. Not too bad. So we're going to turn this over and kind of flatten that out a bit. And I think we're doing all right. We've got a little pocket forming here, and I'm watching that, and I want to make sure that it is not going to cause any issues later on down the line. Right now, we're okay with it. We'll just be able to, if we had to, we could just grind that away. But I think it'll be all right for the moment. We'll just need to keep an eye on it, make sure that it doesn't create weirdness and cold shunts. So when you have tiny little areas that create like little concave pockets, sometimes the edges start to get really cold at times, and when you start hammering on them, they have a tendency to crack and cause larger issues down the line. So we want to make sure that we limit the amount of thin little like crispy areas so that we can make sure that everything is heating and retaining heat at a relatively even amount. All right, let's see. I have on right underneath of the camera, right there, I have a outline for the things that I want to say for the YouTube video. So I'm kind of checking to make sure that I've got all of my talking points. So I talked about the rivet holes, and I talked about the offsetting. And that's kind of what it's called when you put a piece of material on the edge of, or on the corner of the anvil and hammer half on and half off, kind of shoving parts of the material down off of that edge. That it's called offsetting. A lot of times I will call it shelving, but I think the actual jargony term is offset. The Fish and his legion arrive. Welcome in. Welcome in, Edward Peak. Thank you so much for that raid. Welcome in. And it looks like Frosty got my shout out, but I'm going to do a manual shout out. May the Fish bless the stream. Well, thank you. Streaming. And fingers crossed. Are we back? All right, I can't see chat right now because OBS did not actually load it for me. So if I refresh this, I should be able to see on my creator dashboard. And it looks like everything on OBS except for chat has come back. And all right, so we're gonna go to the docs window and we are going to turn chat back on. Or maybe it just won't come back on. Welcome back. All right, I think I'm back to chat. I think I have chat back. Or I could drop my hammer and create big issues. No, it's not big issues. It's just, I almost knocked over my whiteboard. All right, I didn't knock too hard into the camera though, right? Yeah, it looks like it's okay. Mic audio is not picking up. Shh. Of course it's not picking up. Grrr. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Okay, so that is working. What if I unplug this? And then if I plug it back in, is that working now? Once upon a time, audio worked, and now audio is not working. Okay. Because scuff. Okay, so I'm going to turn that on for the moment. And I think, let's see. You guys can probably hear me now, but that's like on camera. And that's not my normal stuffies. Okay, so it looks like my mic is still picking up. It's still recording, but it is not going into OBS. Grr. So now we're back to on-camera mics because problems. Okay, if I undo this and I plug it back in again, will it work? Maybe if I do this and I go properties, and we're gonna go this one maybe, and hit OK. Testing, testing. Okay, that's not working. Grr. That makes me a very sad panda. I thought it was all working and everything. Can you guys hear me as far as like on the camera itself? Yes, thank you, Tony. Welcome in. I did rearrange the workshop. Right now I'm having audio issues. So you guys can hear me through the cameras, but you can't hear me through my microphone because it's not working. Grr. I went through all that trouble, man. So I think in order to actually fix the audio, like actually fix it, I think what's going to happen is I will have to shut down OBS again, and I'm a little bit gun shy about doing that. Yeah, reconnecting isn't working for whatever reason. So, okay, so this is kind of the setup that I have. I have a lav mic that's in my clothes, and then this is the receiver. This is a microphone cable, and it's plugged into this side over here, which is the microphone side. And then this guy goes into the headphone jack inside the computer. So if I put this in theory, it should work, but it isn't. And I'm not entirely sure why. And if I mute it and unmute it, okay. So what if I go to properties? So that is the external microphone. What if I go to default? Is that going to be weird? And it's still not going to happen. Okay. Properties. External microphone. Okay. Yeah, I'm really sorry about the scuff, guys. I'm so sorry about that. Wish you best of luck. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to continue the stream with just the camera audio. I apologize for that, for the scuff that's going on. I would have to shut down the OBS again in order to do, and I don't know that I really want to. Dumb question, is the battery dead? According to my my receiver, I have about 90% power on both the lav mic itself and the receiver. So it's not battery. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Let me check my clips. There's that one. And that one. Yeah, unfortunately, my audio is just being stupid. I think I would have to completely shut down OBS again. in order to do it. I don't know. Yeah, I really do. I think the laptop needs a refresh, and I don't really want to stop the stream and then restart it again, because that'll be the third time, and we've already split twice. So I'm gonna keep going, and I apologize for the sound. Thank you so much for sticking with me, those of you who have and want to. I will see if I can't resync the audio for the VOD when I upload it to YouTube. We'll see if I can manage that. But yeah. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to do another heat real fast. Oh, wait, I guess I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I do that next heat, because I've got about a minute left before an ad is going to play, and I apologize for that, too. A lot more ads are going to be playing this time. Man, I really wish that my internet would stop being unstable. I really thought that it was going to be fine today. Like I said, I was playing MMOs, but apparently my connection is a little bit on the slow side. Normally, MMO connection speed is about on par with what you would do for streaming. So yeah, I'm really sorry. I don't know that I want to increase the volume on my cameras or my capture card, because I'm afraid that it'll be like weird when I start hammering. But I'm also like kind of afraid that you guys can't really hear me very well. So, grr. Grr, grr. So thank you guys for sticking with me. This weekend is a challenge, and yeah, it just wants to make it difficult on us. All right. So at this point, we've had enough of an issue today that I think what's actually going to end up happening is we will be continuing our project on Wednesday. So, yeah, because we've wasted a lot of time trying to reconnect to the internet. So I think we'll probably end up going again. So we'll probably continue our project on Wednesday as well. Hopefully we'll be able to, finish it. But like I said, we've spent so much time fighting the internet that I just don't think we'll have enough time to do the second side. But we'll definitely get it done on Wednesday. And then Friday, we'll just do our Frederick's Cross, and that'll be the week. We'll push the next project back one more week. And I know that's disappointing and sad, but it is what it is, I feel like. Not something I can control, unfortunately. Alrighty. I'm just glad that I get to be here with you guys at all, though, because I was honestly a little bit afraid that we weren't going to have any internet again today. So the little internet that we have, I'm grateful for it. I really did not want to stop streaming or, not stream 2 days in a row. I like the consistency that we've got going. I think it makes it a little bit, easier to get together, and makes me a little bit more reliable. So I'll see what I can do about editing the VOD together tomorrow, uploading it to YouTube so you guys can see a much cleaner, less scuffy version of the VOD up there than the one that you're going to see or find on Twitch. There is someone in the side yard. That's fun. I think there is a gym that's like right over there. I can see it from my yard, and it looked like they were in gym clothes, so maybe they were just going to the gym. All right, we're gonna do another heat while I've got you guys. Okay, so there's a nice amount of thinness right in here. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that it's thin enough that maybe a little bit thinner. It would be nice to see a little bit thinner. So I'm going to correct a little bit of wobble that we've got going, and then we're going to do one more heat. But we're almost there. All right. So we're getting really close to having that boss all nice and ready, and we'll be able to start on this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in the fire so it can start heating up. We'll see how far we can get. Like I said, I really think that it's going to take us one more day because of all of the scuff that's been happening, but we'll see how far we can get today. You know what? I forgot that I did not bring my angle grinder out here. My angle grinder is in the other room back there, so you might get to see the disaster that is the cold shop. So yeah, if I need to grab, because sometimes when we are getting tong bosses ready, I like to take the in between the two sections that are supposed to sit on top of each other, and I like to run an angle grinder over it to kind of make sure that that area is nice and flat, and able to, or we'll be able to, like, they'll sit there smoothly. That way, they'll pivot smoother and closer together. So if I get to that point today, I will probably have to open the doors back there so that I can get the angle grinder. But we have a little ways to go before we have to do that anyway. We've got to do the second side, isolate out that boss, squish it in, get it ready for the drill. And then we also are going to have to make our rivet itself. So usually I make the rivet after I do the hole. That way it is tailor-made to the hole. So we'll probably do that after. I do need to drill out the hole though. So I've got my drill over there, and once those two flats are done, we will use that to drill in the hole. Because I really want to show you kind of how to do this whole process with all of the machines. We did most of the blocking in of the two sides of the tongs with the press. So now we are doing the rest with the drill, or we're going to create the holes with the drill. We got a little bit of hand forming in there to kind of finesse it to make sure that it is the correct shape that we're looking for. But overall, I want to be able to show you guys what it looks like when we're using the machines to create a new set of tongs. Because our other set of tongs, we used all hand forging techniques. So both ways are valid. Both ways are important to understand. So that's the goal this week. And because the VOD broke twice, I'm going to have to kind of check the time periodically to see how long that we've been streaming. It is 3 p.m. here, so let's see. That means we have about an hour-ish left, I think. Something like that. I usually end around 4 o'clock my time. Welcome in, Jack Frost. You have caught me with my pants down. I've got some audio issues right now. We have some internet instability, and so my OBS shut itself down. And unfortunately, when I started it back up, it's not recognizing my microphone. So welcome in, and well, we're doing our best. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit more thinning out on that boss, and we're gonna go. Pants down in the blacksmith shop is always a fun risk, isn't it? Alrighty. All right, and I think we've finessed that pretty darn well. I think it's pretty thin, and we're going to be able to get a rivet through there pretty nice and easily. We've got enough thickness that it's going to, be strong and in there for quite some time. We'll be able to use them for years to come. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cool this one off a little bit, and we're going to focus on our other one. Where am I going to cool this off at? I'll probably put it there. Over on the swage block. And hope that I don't melt anything over there. So that can go over there. And I'll put this over there for the moment. At least pants aren't dependent on internet yet. I mean, that's true. You never know when your pants are going to start requiring an internet connection. I mean, isn't it like fridges? Like, they have internet connections now, and washing machines and dryers. You can kind of start up your washing machine from work nowadays. I feel like it's really strange nowadays. I mean, I kind of feel like it would be relatively good to, be alerted if your power was out or something, when you're kind of at a point where, you're at work and you want to make sure that your groceries are still cold, but it's also kind of unnerving to know that everything in your house is connected, and if the internet went down, you'd kind of be screwed. I was talking to my partner the other day about my truck. My truck has like this iPad type thing in the dash, and it scares me because my last truck, the reason that I had to send it to the junkyard was because the computer system inside my truck failed, and they couldn't, or like some of the circuit boards kind of fried, and they couldn't reset them. And because they couldn't reset them, I couldn't start it anymore. It wasn't, there were like a specific signal wasn't being set between the ignition and the engine. So I couldn't start it anymore. And I'm just afraid that my new truck that has that iPad in there, something like that's going to happen. It's going to be like, you know, 5-10 years down the line, and they're going to stop supporting the iPad in my truck, and then there won't be any more updates for it, and it'll be, you know, I won't be able to start it. It's like I can't afford a new truck every 5 years, you know. It's like we barely paid off this one, you know. So, you know, the internet is everywhere. So once we're happy with the overall shape of both of our tongs, we're going to start kind of shaping them once the blanks are the right shape, we're going to start shaping the necks of them, and also we are going to cut in the V groove shape into the jaws of the tongs. We're making a set of universal tongs, and this is the last set of universal tongs I had. So basically, they're just two little blocks of steel that have a V groove cut into them. And this allows me to pick up any piece of material that has any sort of corners in there of any size, right? Lately, I've been making specifically size sets of tongs. So I have a set for 5/8 inch stock and 1/4 inch stock, but anything smaller than that, and the tongs no longer hold them securely. So I kind of need a set of universal tongs. And so I really like the bolt tong style because I feel like choking up on your material is really convenient to help support that so that it's not shaking all over the place. But I just need to cut in V grooves so that I can hold them from the two sides. And so that's what we're going to do with the jaws of these tongs. And we also need to shape this round section. So... And it'll be a little bit easier to shape the round section once the rivet is through the hole and they are riveted together, because we can kind of finesse them and make sure that the jaws meet correctly. All right, so we have our new piece of steel, and it is, well, our other side of the tongs, and the boss section is really nice and hot. So we're gonna start by squishing it in a little bit and kind of making that offset shape so that we are moving the jaws of the tongs out of the way of the rivet pivot point. All right, so we're gonna pick whatever side we want to use, and I think this side's pretty good. Hang it off of the edge of the anvil. And start moving that material down. We're gonna try and thin it out a little bit. We've got a lot of puckering coming up here, and we want to make sure that that's nice and parallel. And everything lines up. Or we could drop it, that's also good. Got a lot of scale popping off of this, so see what we can get out of here. So when I oriented my anvil in this direction so that the horn was this way and the butt end of it was on this side, part of the reason why I did it in this orientation is so that the horn wasn't pointing at me when I was using the vise. And because sometimes I use the vise like this, and when I had the horn pointing at me, I kind of had a tendency to back up into it, and that was rather unpleasant. So we ended up moving it forward, but we never turned it around. So I feel like I'm working backwards on it, and yeah, it's a little different than I'm used to. But that's all right. I will learn. I also have, like, I usually have these little divots in my anvil face, but I usually have them on the opposite side of myself. So I don't know. I might actually want to kind of flip it 180 degrees so that I get to work at it the same direction. Now that I've shoved it forward a little bit, it shouldn't interfere with my using of the post vise. It's kind of interesting now that I am learning how my shop is going to function while I'm working. The last week while we've had this orientation, I've mostly been working with the press. And so I haven't really done a lot of work on the anvil itself. And I'm finding that I think I want to turn it 180 degrees. So we might definitely do that. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna put these over here, and we're gonna flip the anvil around. All right, so now that means I have to look at the other camera to make sure that everything is all lined up again. And it looks like it's all right. And while I'm at it, I'm going to flip my clips again, because there we go. There we go. Excellent. Now it should theoretically be easier for me to forge on this anvil because it is in the orientation that I'm used to. Strong muscles, yeah. I am strong enough to pick up the anvil and carry it around. I don't like doing that though, because the anvil weighs about the same as I do, and because it does, it is difficult for me to balance while I have it up in the air, and it takes a little bit of effort to line it up into the stand pegs just right. So I try not to pick up the anvil itself. I have a tendency to like tilt it and spin it, or like whenever I need to move it, kind of walk it around. That way I don't have to pick it up. Because like I said, it's hard to balance because it weighs the same amount as I do. All right, let's reset our anvil. Much, much better. I like this orientation a lot better. So, yeah. And it's forward enough that it shouldn't be a big deal if I'm standing here at the post vise. So that's good. I'm glad. Okay, let's try this again. Another heat. Another heat. All right, so we're going to turn this 180 degrees, hang it off of the edge of the anvil to offset the neck. And while we're at it, we are trying to keep the reins nice and flat and not curving. So we got to be relatively careful while we're doing this. But we really want to offset that so that all of this material is this direction. And I'm going to bring over the other side. so we can kind of compare the two. So you can tell that this side is a lot flatter and a lot wider than this side is right here. But we've kind of got, you know, this section all in, and then this section is starting to form right now as well. Ah, that could be an issue. I just caught my hip on the horn of the anvil when I was coming back from messing with all of the computer stuff. Notes that I'll have to, you know, put into practice when we continue doing the rearranging of the shop. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, let's see. I've gone over quite a bit of the material that I wanted for my video, so I'm pretty happy with that. I have several different things that I need to continue talking about, and that would be drilling in the rivet holes. So we'll talk about that some when we go about doing it. We also need to talk about making a rivet. And we've already talked about the offsetting and the V-grooves in the jaws. So yeah, I think we're right on track with our bullet points for this project. How's your arm holding up with the heavy hammer? It is surprisingly holding up pretty well. A lot of times the reason why I use that extra bracing is because, you know, my elbow, or like sometimes I have this tendency to like lean on my elbows, and my elbow gets kind of misaligned, and so does my shoulder. So by using the brace, when I'm using the heavier hammer or even the lighter hammer, it kind of holds everything in place and it helps a little bit. But overall, it's not I'm not, it doesn't feel like, you know, it is being messed up or anything. So I think overall we're doing all right. I was also a little bit worried that that the heavier hammer would tire me out, and I think that I'm actually doing quite well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we've been doing this for, you know, a couple months now. So I think my body's starting to get really used to the use of the hammers. So I'm really happy. Making a lot of progress. What weight did you go up to? So this guy is a 3-pound hammer. I have been using a 2-pound hammer recently. This guy right here. And the reason, I mean, like 5 years ago, before I got sick, I was almost exclusively using the 3-pound hammer because I just like that hammer better. I like the shorter handle on it, and I like the way that it moves the material better than this guy. But the reason why I ended up moving towards the 2-pound hammer is after I got sick, it's taken me about 5 years to get to a point where I could stand for an hour. And so as we've been streaming, I've been gaining back my stamina and my ability to come back out here and stay out longer and longer. And because we've been doing so much hand forging, the amount of stamina that I've been getting back is, you know, it's really increasing my quality of life. And honestly, I'm not feeling bad today. So I'm pretty happy with the gains that we've been making. I still am not sure if I want to permanently move over to the 3-pounder, but overall, it's not feeling bad. So that's a good thing. So yeah, we went from a 2-pound hammer to a 3-pound hammer. Ugh. Got a hole in my lip. Again. Am I back? It looks like I'm back. Maybe? Testing, testing, 1, 2. Can you guys hear me? I hope I'm back. I think I'm back. So I think that if this happens again, I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to stop streaming, and we'll continue this project on Wednesday. But I'm really, I feel like it's not fair to you guys for me to have to continuously force you, or or like if I have to continuously force close my application and restart it every 3 seconds. So yeah, so we recovered for the moment, but if it happens again, I'm probably going to stop streaming a little bit early for the day. Hopefully we stabilize. I apologize about my internet soon. They should have it all fixed up pretty soon. I'm sorry. What a scuffy stream today. Maybe we're saved by the ads. I doubt it, but you never know. Looks like I lost about 6 viewers. So yeah. Overall, we are getting an April Fool's preview. I mean, April Fool's isn't until tomorrow, but we're experiencing it today. Kind of annoying. I'm not a big person when it comes to April Fools, but you know, I oftentimes I'm the one being fooled. I'm not very good at doing the whole playing of the joke thing. So I don't know. Hopefully I will get a decent VOD, or, and a decent edit of the VOD when I put everything back together. I will be taking out all of the interruptions and putting in the proper sound. So if you want to go back and listen to everything on YouTube, it should be a lot more pleasant to watch. And I will have that posted tomorrow, probably by 10 a.m. That's usually around the time that I post most of my VODs. But yeah, if it happens one more time, I'm probably going to end the stream just because I don't think it's fair to you guys. So thank you for sticking with me. And yeah, we'll see if we can finish out the rest of the stream. Okay, let's go to another heat. All right, now I gotta figure out which direction this needs to go. We're kind of trying to thin this out right now so that we can get a good start. And then from here, I'm going to take a look at the other side. And we're going to see which direction we need to make this go. I think it's going to be this direction. I think it's going to be this direction. Yeah, because corner to corner. So the next heat, we're going to start offsetting it off of the edge of the anvil this direction. Hopefully I remember. let's see. I have an hour and 11 minutes on the main timer on Twitch that I've been streaming. I have about 45 minutes left in the stream as long as the internet holds out. So I should be able to get to a point where I can drill the holes in the bosses by the end of the stream. It shouldn't take too much longer. Overall, I think we're okay. So yeah. Let's see. What else can we talk about? What is... Oh, my weather is blinking at me for whatever reason. It says it's 62 degrees outside. I think it's like updating is probably why it's blinking at me. So yeah, it's apparently 62 degrees outside and it is about 70 in here. It's very pleasant. I've got this door over here pretty well open, so we've got lots of ventilation and a lot of cross breeze coming in here. Could you use the press to form the boss hinge area? If I had a good set of dies, I probably could. I could probably actually use the flat section of the dies for this. But part of the reason why I don't do that is because I would get even pressure from the top die and the bottom die. So if I were going to be getting that diagonal shelf, like that diagonal offset, I would get an equal amount of that diagonal on both the top, or like the right side and the left side. So the squished in section would be centered, right? And because, or I want them offset from one, or like on one side. So regardless, I would have to come back to the anvil and kind of fix that, fix the offset. So it's just as easy for me to hand form it. So, I mean, and I could definitely do a little, or, you know, it would take a lot less effort for me to squish in that material, but it wouldn't be quite as precise, and I would have to move it, and it wouldn't be as pretty looking, I guess. Ooh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so that's why I'm doing it by hand. It's just, it's going to be a cleaner and better looking product in the end. You could do it, and, you know, some people will do it that way. You know, I'm not saying you can't. It's just, you know, I personally don't. All right. So we're going to do another heat. And this is where we're going to do that offset. So we're going to go corner to corner. And we've got that nice offset started right here. We've got that diagonal. So if I were to take the other side and bring it over, we've got those two identical shelves. So when we put them together, that diagonals, those two diagonals will fit right against each other, and we'll be able to put that rivet right down in that center. So we've got our offsets, or our offset reins, and then the necks are nice and offset as well. So that will make a beautiful set of tongs. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, I actually for once don't have to redo these offsets. That makes me very happy. I have this tendency to kind of forget what direction I'm hammering, and I have a tendency to kind of have to redo or reset in the offsets. Um, and it makes things a little bit messier, and it makes it so that I have to spend more time with the grinder. So it is better to kind of really, measure twice, cut once about this, and make sure that you are creating two identical halves. And they do need to be identical because you're going to flip 180 degrees, and then you kind of have to clasp them together. So then you get those two shells and they work beautifully together. So yeah, I'm really happy that I remembered. It's something that I always forget, and I always make that error. So I'm glad I didn't this time. These will be a much cleaner set of tongs than previously made tongs, I feel like. The handles will be a little bit shorter though. I didn't make them quite as thin as some of my previous sets of tongs lately. They're a little bit thicker on the handle section. I don't think that's going to be a bad thing though. Yeah, having the anvil in the correct orientation makes things a lot easier. You kind of gotta pick an orientation and like learn to use your anvil that direction, and stick with it kind of. At least with specific anvils, right? This one has its own little quirks, and every anvil does. Every anvil has like little divots in the, imperfections that you have to kind of deal with. And this one, it just makes it a lot easier if I am standing on this side of the anvil. I've got these little holes in here. And I'm right-handed, so it makes it easier when I have the broken off section, the corner, on this side, so I can actually hammer into it instead of like this. All right. Let's go again. And back to the side, making sure that we are paying attention to where that offset is. Now we're going to flip it around and kind of work from this side. We are making sure that we're avoiding the offset with our hammer, making sure that we hammer on this side and not over top. And we are continuing. So if we bring our other half over, we've got two relatively even sections. It looks like we've lost a little bit here, or not lost a little bit, but it's a little more gradual than shelved. So that might be something that we can fix in another heat. So we'll try. and see if we can't fix that a little bit. Ferris Games, welcome. Black Cat, thank you for the follow. Also, Ferris Games, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, and the subscription. Thank you so much. Black Cat. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, I'm having a little bit of issues with my connection right now. We had some storms and some like trees fell, and so my internet is a little bit unstable while they're kind of fixing the lines. There's a few areas where our lines are like above ground, and so when it gets really windy or stormy, sometimes my internet connection, it gets a little bit weird. So I normally have better sound than this, but with the drops, my computer, for whatever reason, isn't recognizing my microphone. I do post all of my VODs up on YouTube. I will put the correct sound back into the VOD. So that should be up by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, which would be, I guess it would be 11 Eastern, because I'm in Central Time. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. Oh, it was at your end, not mine. Okay. Yeah, I've had a lot of issues with my connection today. I've lost my OBS client 3 times today. So I am, at this point, I am going to, or if it drops again, I'll probably end the stream a little bit early. Normally, I go to about 5 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern U.S. time, but if the stream drops again, I will probably end up ending the stream and then kind of starting up again on Wednesday. BST. What is BST? I am assuming that's somewhere in Europe. But yeah, I'm here in the United States, and it's kind of, I stream during the afternoon, like after lunch period for me. But a lot of my community is actually from Europe. A lot of people, they'll get off of work and, you know, before they go to bed, they'll watch the stream. So I enjoy talking to everybody. British summertime. Oh, that makes sense. Yes. That's kind of where I thought BST might be from, but I have a tendency to, you know, I say some stuff and it's wrong, and you know, I wanted to make sure I was correct before saying it this time. So yes, welcome to the community, welcome in. So yeah, I'm glad that you are here and joining the community. It's great to have you. It is 9:30 here. Yeah, that makes sense. I have some people from Croatia and Germany, and I think a few other places in that same area time zone. And there it's around 10 to 11 p.m. there around this time. So yeah, that makes sense. So I'm glad that you've joined us. I'm trying to learn as much as possible, to be honest. Forged 2 things so far. Gonna forge my own hammer in 2 weeks. Ooh, I have always wanted to make my own hammer. I have yet to do so. So right now we're doing a set of tongs. And there are VODs up on both Twitch and YouTube for the whole process. I've been using a shop press. This is a 20-ton pneumatic bottle jack press. It makes it very easy for me to get a lot of work done with a lot less work on, or, effort on my part. I also have a video on my YouTube of doing a hand forge process for a set of tongs. One of these days, I'm gonna make a hammer eye drift. So when you make the eye of a hammer, you have a specific tool called a hammer eye drift. And so basically, I'm sure you know what that sort of tool is, because you've got to create that eye. So eventually, I will make my own hammers. I mean, this piece of steel right here is I bought it so I could make hammers out of it. But we haven't gotten that far yet. I'm kind of still in the process of figuring out what I can and can't do on stream. So welcome in. I'm glad that you're joining us. We have a lot that we're going to do throughout, the coming years, months, and weeks. So yeah, welcome in. I'm going to do another heat real fast, and we're going to see where that leads us. So we are continuing on this offset, and I think I'm going to forge really hard here to kind of try and make up that extra area. All right. And right now I'm kind of finessing this so that they are even. Both sides are the same. So if we look at them, they're relatively similar. We've got a little bit of a round here and a little bit more round over here. So they're not exactly correct, and then they're not exactly the same, but they're close enough that when we put them together, like so, I think they'll end up pretty well. So I think we're at a point where I just need to clean these two up with the grinder. And I don't actually have my grinder here in this section of the shop. So, all right. Just posted my first fully complete item to your Discord with the truth disclaimer on there. Awesome. Well, I will definitely take a look at it when I get done streaming today. I have a tendency to check my Discord after every stream because a lot of people will reply to things and they'll post pictures and stuff there. I'd rather the links end up in the Discord than on the Twitch at the moment because the auto mods, sometimes they get a little angry at links. So yeah, I need to grab my angle grinder so I can make sure that these are all nice and smooth and they'll go together really nicely. And that is in my disaster of a cold shop. So I will be right back. At least I think it's in here. Is it over there? Pretty sure it's in here. Right. So it's kind of a disaster in there. You know what? I don't have the right thingy or bit for this. Okay, so I got that. I have no idea where my grinding disc is. I'll put that there for a second, and we're going to take a look, see if I can't find a grinding disc. For sure, no rush. It's more so, you know, I'm here for the right reasons, to be honest. I am a proponent of, I don't really have much, or I don't really, I mean, I don't judge why people are here. I mean, I don't really want people here who are going to be like really sexist and rude and obnoxious in that sort of way. But I'm all for people who just want to be here to be entertained, you know. That's a valid reason to come. And I'm never going to blame people for that. So I love teaching people. Here's the correct disc. And that's really why I'm here, is to teach people. But if you're just here because you find it entertaining, that's fine too, you know? So I'm just glad that people are here. People want to come and watch and learn what I have to say, or listen to what I have to say at least. So yeah. Welcome to the community. That's what I'm trying to say overall. Welcome to the community. All right, so basically what I have right here is my angle grinder. And this angle grinder is going to kind of help me shape our tong blanks to make sure that they're nice and flat and will fit together nicely. So we're going to move our water over to the anvil, I think, for the moment at least. And this can also move. This is oil that I use to cool my tools. I'll stick this over here for the moment. And overall, I think that's all right there. Yet another Twitch e-girl showing her thong. I'm showing some stuff. You know, like my angle grinders and, you know, my multi-tool. Welcome in. Oh, let's see here. I'm going to plug this guy in over here. And this outlet is also what the lights are connected to, so there might be a chance that it kind of blinks a little bit, and I apologize for that. Okay. Do I have enough lead, or do I need an extension cord? I think I'm all right. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to bring this like so. And, oh. Haha. Safety third. And so I have ground down all of the material to make sure it's nice and flat on there. So that way the pivot will be nice and smooth. Anyway, cheers from Belgium. Hope you're having a nice day. I am having a nice day. Okay, so this guy right here, it's nice. It's like kind of, here, let me do this. So this guy right here is, you know, it's really like, there's some lumps and bumps, and I'm kind of trying to make sure that this guy gets smooth, and so when they pivot, it'll be a nice smooth open and close. So there's that. And then this isn't smooth, so I've ground that down a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to wait a little bit while the ad is going, and then we're going to grind the other side. So we're going to smooth that little diagonal section, and then we're going to smooth out everything, make sure that there's no lumps or bumps in there. Black metal is the bane of my existence. When metal is this color, I never know if it's hot or not, so I have to kind of feel it before I touch it. It's hot enough now that if I were to touch it, it would burn me. All right, so now we're going to go and try the other side. All right, so now we have two relatively smooth sides to this set of tongs. So in theory, they should open and close relatively easily. So that's exactly what I want to see. I'll put that there for now. And then do this. So we've got two smooth sections, and we put them together, and they'll open and close relatively easily. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to drill those two holes so that we can rivet them together. So right now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shut down the forge because I don't think we're going to need it for the rest of the time here today. So we'll reheat it up if we need to make the rivet, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to spend most of the rest of our time drilling the holes today, because it is almost 4 o'clock, and that's for my time, and that's when I usually stop the stream. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It should make a little bit, or it should make it a little bit easier for you guys to hear me as well. All right, let's see. I've got my drill over here. Normally I use a much better drill than this, but like my other drill is kind of, I broke it and I haven't had a chance to buy a new drill. So yes, I'm using a corded Black & Decker drill. So it'll work. Just about anything will work for the function that we're doing today. So we're going to unplug the angle grinder and toss that down here. And then I think I'm actually going to use an extension cord so that I can use the drill over on the anvil itself. Let's see. There we go. And we'll put that down there. And this will get plugged in here. Okay. These guys are still a little bit warm. Right now, because I haven't completely gotten my shop back in order, my quench bucket is behind the camera. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to quench these two off so that I can like touch them. And then so it'll be just a second while I do that real fast. How can I can't do this. I have to do it one at a time. Erg. All right. So that's touchable. And I'm going to move the quench bucket so it's a little easier to get to. And I don't have to go behind the camera to use it. I'll just put that there for now. And yes, it's just a cat litter bucket. But that's what I got for the moment. Alrighty. Let's set this up a little bit. Stick that there. I like to use a piece of wood when I am actually drilling for metal. And the reason I like to do that is because that way I can go directly into the metal and it doesn't cause me any issues like, you know, trying to find the Pritchell hole on the anvil or anything like that. Normally I would do this on a table, but I don't have one available right now. Oh, that's the wrong direction. It helps when you pay attention to which direction you have your drill going when you're changing bits. Alrighty. Let's see here. And To prevent the drill from moving around, what I'm looking for is a center punch. I've got one around here somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure where. That's not my center punch. That's not my center punch. And I apparently was not as ready for the stream as I thought I'd be, because I forgot a few things that I really need. Where is my center punch? It's in here. I know it is. Is this it? Yes, this is my center punch. Oh. Thank you so much, Ping, for that ban on that bot. I appreciate it. You are an amazing mod. All right, so we're going to use the center punch. There's like a little point here. There's a little point at the end of this guy right here. And so we're going to find the center of this area. And we're going to use a special hammer that is a metal on metal hammer, right? So this guy is for cold metal. And I use that because there's always a chance that the head of the hammer or the head of the punch could very well chip. And I want to make sure that if it does chip, it is it is a specifically designated hammer and not one of my good ones for forging. All right, so that's center punched right there. So my drill bit theoretically should not drift. Or it could move in the chuck. So we've got a nice hole, real nice and started there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take some oil and I'm going to do that to kind of lubricate our drill bit so it doesn't get too hot. And that's really important when you're using a metal on metal. And you can kind of clean out the holes if you need to. You got a nice hole that's like nice and started there. We're getting close to the other end, but we're going to be breaking through soon. It's very important that you keep the drill bit perpendicular so that you're going straight through. And we're about to go all the way through, and that's why it's kind of slowing down. All right, so we've gotten all the way through, as you can see right here. We've gone all the way through. Oh, come on, get out of there. All right, so we've got a nice hole there, and it's time to use the other side. So the same process. Fenris Games, welcome, or thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your night. Catch you later. All right. So when we are doing the other side, we kind of want to line them up. Make sure that they're actually going to meet. Because the worst thing would be if we drilled a hole and it didn't meet. So we kind of want to make sure that everything is all lined up and nice. And we will actually end up drilling through both of these. So we're going to stick our drill bit this way, and we are going to drill through. Like so, or at least we're going to start this like so. So now we have the hole. It's nice and in there, exactly where we want it. So now we can get rid of that and make sure that we drill straight through. We're going to line these up again. And that'll look beautifully. That'll work beautifully. Okay. You know what? I need to take a look at a thing real fast. Alrighty. That works. And take the center punch, put a little oil there. Make sure that we keep the drill bit cool. Takes way too long for me. It's a lot shorter than doing it by hand, though. And we've got a partial all the way through. All right, so those are nice and clean. And we can kind of apply them onto the drill bit and kind of see how they fit. Like that. And those look really nice. So I think that'll work very well. Alrighty. It helps when you press the correct button. Okay, so that's that. And so it is totally and completely valid to drill the holes as opposed to punching them, or you can actually punch your holes. Both are valid. You're going to lose a lot more material drilling the holes like we just did than you would if you punched the holes, because if you're punching the holes, it kind of displaces the material as opposed to cutting the material. So this is what we've got right here. And they'll sit together and they'll pivot just like so. So it should work very beautifully. It looks like this guy's a little bit longer, but it's only an illusion. They're the same size. So yeah, those will work really nicely together. The next thing that we're going to need to do is cut in those V grooves into the jaws of these guys. And we will do that on our next stream. Because it's starting to get a little on the late side. So yeah, it's about 4. Yay, I did it. I've got 2 things. So we're going to spend next stream on the creating the riveting these 2 together, and then finessing them so that they're functional. And I thank you guys so much for joining me, even though I had so much scuff and the sound wasn't functioning right. So thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed streaming for you. Hopefully on Wednesday, the internet will be good to go and I won't have any issues with latency or lag or disconnects or anything like that. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream right there. And if there's anybody that you guys would like to raid, let me know. But yeah, I think that's going to be where we're going to end today. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and yeah. And I get to update our outro screen again. Exciting. All right, who are we going to raid, guys? Who do we got? Let's see. Looks like Periferous is up. Do you guys want to check out some woodworking? Let's raid Periferous. I don't think I've raided him. And he raided us, so I think we're going to raid Periferous. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll see you back here later on.
I'll be back on Wednesday.